Now this is something that I had on my mind for so long. Why is Nintendo so slow at re-releasing games? Like, it's been 18 to 15 years since Mario Galaxy 1 and 2 has returned to any current gen platform, and it's been a long time since we see any GameCube games, any Legend of Zeldas, any games as a whole that you meant like, hey, you know what, this game would be great on Nintendo Switch 1 or 2. One prime example of that is The Legend of Zelda The Wind Waker HD or 4K. Now this game was in the talks for so long. When are we going to be seeing The Legend of Zelda Wind Waker HD? When are we going to be seeing it? This Nintendo Direct 2022, this Nintendo Direct, we're going to be seeing The Legend of Zelda Wind Waker. Never happened. Until we got the Nintendo Switch 2, we got The Legend of Zelda Wind Waker on GameCube, but not the original or the official HD version, which is arguably better. But anyways, all these games in mine are very weird. Is Nintendo purposely plotting against us? Are they just re-releasing the games because it fits them and they're $112? Yeah. So this is something very, very interesting. This is something that I feel like Nintendo knows what they're doing. I feel like they know what they're doing. If they hold the game long enough, everybody's going to be like, oh my goodness, I gotta buy this game right up. Instead of, if they don't hold the game and just release the game for like, who knows, this price, probably going to be like $40 if they just release the game, then less people are going to get it. Is that what they're thinking of? Because if you don't remember, the 3DS, the Wii, and the Wii U were all fantastic consoles for just allowing you to play games from an older system and pretty much put it on because they allowed you to buy these games. Like on the Wii U, you were easily able to buy Mario Galaxy, Mario Galaxy 2, you were easily able to buy pretty much every game from those generations. You could get Mario 64, you could get pretty much everything was available on those platforms. But then all of a sudden, when we moved over to the Nintendo Switch, things started to show up less often, and then pretty much nothing. Like some of your favorite games. Maybe it's your favorite game like Mario, the one Mario game that we're missing after this long on Nintendo Switch, 3D Land. Now, when are we going to be seeing this? Probably 5 years from now for the 45th anniversary. When are we going to be seeing the 2D games? Probably then as well. But who knows? Nintendo could surprise us and release the last 3D Mario game next year. But that's not only what we're here to talk about. What about The Legend of Zelda? The Legend of Zelda A Link Between Worlds. That's a game that a lot of people want. What about The Legend of Zelda The Wind Waker? That's another game that a lot of people want. Like, pretty much think about Nintendo, oh, I want a Wii game. Well, it's gonna take them a long time to re-release those games. They don't really necessarily look at what fans want from those series. The last remastered, not talking about Mario Galaxy 1+2, the last one was Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon. Now, although that was a great game on the 3DS, I don't think it was many players' favorite game. But then they decide to remaster that. So how does Nintendo's remastering system actually work? Do they just go with what the developers want to do, or do they go off of what the fans want? Because I feel like if it was vice versa, what the fans want, they want The Legend of Zelda Wind Waker HD, we probably would have seen it by now. If it was by the fans want, we would probably see a lot of other Legend of Zelda games. Maybe even some sort of triple pack of some sort. And honestly, I feel like maybe they're doing this on purpose. And it's not just the old games, like Wii U, 3DS, whatever the case may be. It's not just that. It's also the GameCube application. Now, we got the GameCube application on Nintendo Switch 2, and we're not really seeing the big heavy hitter games. Like, where in the world is Mario Kart Double Dash? Where in the world is Super Smash Bros. Melee? Where in the world are the big popular games that you can get your fans to play these games? Like a good prime example, maybe in November, could we get Kirby Air Riders? Now, I don't think Nintendo is going to release it. They're probably going to be releasing a game that no one even remembers, but hey, maybe it's a possibility. But what is going on here? Are they purposely holding games back so you don't have them to play. Like, honestly, these games need to be shined upon with beautiful light instead of being locked in the darkness, and that's about it for them. I think that having more games on the platform is going to make the platform grow even more, even if this platform is very, very expensive to be on. Because here in Canada, the new Super Mario Galaxy 1+2 games are $112. Now that is a lot of money. And if you look about, 15 years ago, these games were probably less than $40 because, hey, that was a completely different time. And I don't want to hear anything about, well, I mean, inflation. So if you take this and you put it into a calculator with like inflation involved, well, then all of a sudden these games are like $100. So I think we're saving money. Just like if you do the NES. Back in the day, all the way back then, you put the NES game and you bought that game for $150. I don't want to hear it. It's not the same. It's not the same thing. But Nintendo's definitely holding things back because, like, they could easily just release a whole bunch of GameCube games at once so you have something to play. But instead, it's like once a month, and I don't even think we got a GameCube game in September. So why aren't we seeing any GameCube games? The prime opportunity would have been to release Mario Kart Double Dash in September, or they could have released Mario Kart Double Dash in October, because another kart racing game, is kind of taking over the scene right now. Nintendo, are you either going to add some DLC for Mario Kart World, or are you going to add some Mario Kart Double Dash? That would have been great. Are they even holding back with the Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, or even DLCs as a whole? Now, I know, we just recently talked about them just going bonkers with DLCs left and right, but the main games that pretty much everyone loves, where's the DLC? Like, Tears of the Kingdom would have been a prime opportunity for DLC for the Nintendo Switch 2 edition, but we never saw DLC for the Nintendo Switch 2 edition, which makes you, like, scratch your head and wonder, what in the world? Where is this DLC? You could have easily added something like Trial of the Sword, because honestly, these shrines already have that mechanic. So just make it longer. Make a longer shrine of Trial of the Sword, and then you could have said, hey, this is the Switch 2 edition. It comes with Trial of the Sword. It comes with a mech that you can drive around, fly around, whatever it is. Because, hey, it would be really cool to see some of that. And honestly, you could release so many other games instead of what you're doing right now, being super, super slow with the release of your old games. Everyone loves the old games. Like, honestly, everyone. You can ask pretty much anyone across the world, even if they're not on the Nintendo platform, they can say that Nintendo is a strange company. It's just really, really strange how they handle the things, but they make good games. Like, it's pretty much standardized that Nintendo makes good games. But where are those games? Where are the games? They're stuck. They're locked away on older platforms that they shut down the store for. I would understand if they didn't want to bring them to the Nintendo Switch or the Nintendo Switch 2 if the stores for the older consoles were still up. But they're not up. So now it's just like a waiting game. You gotta wait and get yourself these games probably like 10 years from now. But overall, it's just a waiting game. Unless you go out and become, you slap on your pirate hat, you go command the ocean, and you become a pirate for these games. This is pretty much the only way. And I feel like that is just the worst way. It's just the worst way. Because you're not playing on the official hardware. The hardware that really builds dreams, really builds a foundation for Nintendo, and it's just something that you really like to see. You want to see yourself playing on the official hardware, at least I do, because I think that playing on the official hardware just brings you joy, and you can take your entire game collection everywhere you want. Being a pirate is pretty bad. It's just bad. Or using emulators. You don't necessarily have to be a pirate to use emulators, but it's just like, it's just not it, Playing on Nintendo, playing on the hardware that you want to, is something special. And holding it back from the consumer is pretty anti-consumer. Like, one of the big things from Super Mario Galaxy 1+2 is the price. One big major complaint is the price. And I can understand why the price is like bonkersly high, because Nintendo in their mind is like, okay, so these are some of the greatest platforming games of all time, and we're going to charge you for that, mark on what it is. So I don't know. It's just overall a very, very strange thing. Nintendo's definitely holding back games, and just, being super, super weird about the games. Now, do I like Nintendo? Do I like the games? Yeah, of course. I love Nintendo games. I think they are some of the greatest games of all time, or maybe the greatest games of all time. They know how to make good games. And maybe that's why they're holding things back, so you get super, super excited on those returns. Now, do I wish that they would bring back the most popular games? I wish that that would happen. Like, imagine seeing Mario Kart Wii on Nintendo Switch 1 or 2. That would be great. But now, since we got Mario Kart World, I feel like they're never going to do that, because they kind of want Mario Kart World to, I guess, be better than every other Mario Kart game, but they're not really showing us something that they could do with Mario Kart World, like DLC, or like keeping the game alive. Like Mario Kart Tour really did that well with just updates and stuff. But we're going to have to see what's going on right now. 2025 is looking like a very, very interesting year for Nintendo Switch 2. May you like it, may you hate it, but you gotta admit that there is a bunch of different games. It definitely isn't the big games like Mario, Zelda, whatever the case may be, but it still is some good, fun games. Anyways, what do you think about all of this stuff? Thank you so much for watching. I hope that you have a fantastic day, and just consider to take a thought on what game you want to see return on the Nintendo Switch 1 or 2. Anyways, thanks for watching. Hope you have a fantastic day, and see you in the next one.